Hey, what's up guys? I'm Josh, and today we're going to try something a little different. I want to do system builds. I want to do system builds at a specific price point, various price points actually. The goal will be to set a price and talk about a potential build that you could do, some of the pros, some of the cons, some of the alternative options at that price tag, and what you may and may not want to select. And today, we're going to start with sort of in the mid-range for an entire system, which is going to be $700. And I think this is a great starting point because this actually represents a system that is not maximally efficient. And so will allow me to kind of point out some pros and cons of this particular setup and some areas that you might want to go towards. So this is not designed to be the absolute pinnacle of sound quality at this price. It's just an option. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, price point is going to be $700 total for this entire system. Cables, everything you need to power, amp, DAC, headphones, that's going to be the goal. All right, so let's break down a little bit of what we have here. So we have a Schiit Modius, a Schiit Magnius, and a 6XX. And I'll go over some of the benefits and the drawbacks of both of these units right here. And then we'll talk about why they pair well with the 6XX and some areas that might save you a little bit of cost and what might be a little bit better. Okay, so each of these units is $200. Now the Magnius is one of the best amplifiers for the money. It provides a lot of power. I think it's in the realm of 6 watts into 32 ohms or something equivalent like that. So it's going to provide quite a substantial boost in power that something like the 6XX really enjoys. And the Modius underneath it is basically designed to pair perfectly well with it. Now, notably, these builds don't come with a pair of XLR cables, so you will have to purchase these separately. Yes, this was included in the price. I got these really small ones that are red and blue for right and left. And I think these totaled to about 10 or 12, maybe even $14. So pretty cheap for a pair of actually pretty decent quality XLR cables. It also, provides a very short, kind of efficient build, and it synchronizes very nice. Now, as good of a value as the Magnius is, the Modius is also a very good value DAC and does have some legitimate benefits, being able to be powered off of a laptop, for example, or even things like an iPad, and not needing an external power source if you don't have one. For the price, it does have an okay amount of input options. There are maybe some DACs that don't measure as well, but do offer more input options, like Bluetooth, for example, or this one is missing the full-size USB, which some people prefer, including myself, over this micro USB, just for the strength of the actual port. Now with this system, I did want to run it balanced, and we are going to end up paying a little bit more to run balanced, and I'll talk about where you can save some costs here. But the main benefit of the Magnius and the Modius is to have a balanced DAC and a balanced amplifier. So if you want to live that balanced life, you're going to have to unfortunately pay for it here. Now, a quick note on these. They're built very well. They do have one flaw, and that's going to be the feet on the bottom. They do leave what people call little shit stains, little black marks on your desk if your desk is white. So keep an eye out for that. I would spend an extra couple bucks to pick up some aftermarket feet, just so you're not leaving marks everywhere. Okay, now headphone choice. I picked the 6XX here for a couple of reasons. One, this is a headphone that scales pretty well up until a point with your gear and the power of your gear. So not only is the sound quality of your equipment going to matter, and the 6XX is more than transparent enough to see through that. And in my opinion, the 6XX actually performs better the more power that you make available to it. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be screaming your ears off with volume, even though you could if you wanted to, but I wouldn't advise it. But the main point for me is that I want to have as much power on tap for the 6XX as I could ever want, and this allows for this. This headphone, if you've never heard it, is an excellent mid-range headphone. It's a little bit dark in the treble response and a little bit thin on the bass response, at least in the sub-bass regions, but the sound quality is really excellent, and for the money, it's still probably the best mid-range experience, and that's even over current headphones like the 400i 2020 version and Sennheiser's own HD 560S. And those headphones offer different sound palettes for around the same cost, this one being $220, 560 being $200, and the 400i 2020 being I think $179. So a little bit cheaper, but I really, really enjoyed the mid-range on this. Now, regarding those other headphones, the 560 isn't really going to be able to take advantage of this because it's really, really efficient. So you can run it off of not that substantial of an amplifier, and you're going to basically cap out the sound quality pretty early on in your kind of quality of amplification. And that's actually not a bad thing because you don't have to spend as much with that headphone. But the main point of me saying that is that that headphone probably wouldn't be advised for this system. The 400i 2020 might be a good contender for this. It's a planar and a fairly demanding planar at that. Not super crazy or anything like that, but the power of the Magnius is far more than enough to take advantage of that 400i 2020. Okay, now the thing that joins these two systems together, the amp DAC and the headphones, is going to be an XLR cable. You are going to have to purchase an XLR cable separately if you want to. This one is from Periapt, is about $70. It's a little bit on the higher side, but the physical cable quality is excellent. And even though it's, fairly high in comparison to the cost of not only the system, representing 10% of the total value, but if you do want a nice high quality feel to everything, I think a nice high quality feeling cable, not going to talk about sound quality of it, but the feeling, the physical tangibility of the cable is very good. I would rate this system at pretty good. It's kind of on the upper ranges of mid-range. I do want to talk a little bit about in this series what the kind of limitations and the benefits of a particular build are. So let's talk about those limitations. I think the limitation is going to be the headphone, which offers another benefit to this build, which is going to be that if you do buy this, you are pretty much future-proofing yourself for a while in terms of headphones, and you can go up and up in value in headphones and quality of headphones, and this is going to be more than enough to keep up with it. The next advisable step for me from this would probably be something like an Alex. You're going to get a somewhat familiar sound signature, but it's going to be better in just about every way. The build quality is going to be a little bit better. I believe that headphone does come with an XLR cable, so you're set to go without having to spend money on an extra cable. And this is going to provide quite a bit of headroom for this 6XX. Now, where you could save some money, and you could actually save quite a bit of money here, is going with a single-ended system instead of the balance system. I would also probably advise Schiit for this particular category, being the Magni and the Modi instead of the Magnius and the Modius. And because you don't have to buy an XLR cable for that particular system, your total savings between your amp DAC and cable is going to be about $270. So total system build here, if this is a Magni and a Modi and just the stock cable, would be about $430. And you're going to be getting pretty close performance to this, to be honest. Now, I think there's going to be a couple things going on in your minds right now. One is a group of people saying, well, why would I spend that much extra money for not that much of a difference? And that's a valid point, and spending less for this particular system might be the play. Another group of people are probably asking, well, how much better is this system than that? Now, fortunately, it is better, and I don't think you would regret your purchase, but I don't think it's like substantially better. Now, when I was testing between the Magni and the Magnius, the main difference for me for the 6XX specifically was just the power delivery and power capability. So you're going to be noticing bass hits are a little bit stronger, highs are a little bit crispier. It's just got a little bit more finite control over the driver with the Magnius than the Magni does. But again, we're talking about kind of small amounts here. So one of the benefits of this system is the potential headroom. So you are going to be able to step up to more demanding headphones and have more headroom than you would with the Magni. You also have more input selections and more output selections. So the Modi is limited to one DAC output. This is limited to two. You have an XLR and an RCA. So a little bit more flexibility, a little bit larger size. It's a little bit more tangible of a device. And for $200 more as a total system. If you're really committed to this, I would definitely recommend getting the Magnius and the Modius over the Magni and the Modi. So I'd love some feedback on if you think the show is a good idea. What I would like to do is offer like every price point. So, even doing extreme budget builds for like total system is like $100, and then 200, and then, up and up and up, but kind of the whole range, and showing what you can get. Some are going to be more value-based in terms of like maximizing the sound quality. And then some videos would be kind of things like this that would be kind of maybe to show you an option of what you could get and some of the upsides and some of the downsides of that particular choice of products. Okay, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next video, my name is Josh, signing off.